Hello and welcome to the Monaco Grand Prix, round number 6 of the Formula C World Championship. And as you can see, we are here at Monaco, 42 laps of absolute perfection, 3.34 kilometers in length, start time of 8 PM, so it's going to only get darker as the lights come down towards the end of the race. Should be a cracker of a race. We had a great race out last time out in Spa-Francorchamps, with the potential of 3 to 4 different drivers that race weekend in a chance of winning the Grand Prix. So if that's anything to go by, Monaco is going to be absolutely fantastic. F1 Speed currently top of the championship with the rest of the gravy teams currently the only ones to win any of the races this season, but me and Geronimo are going to try and put an end to that with Team Tominio. I had the pace last time out in Spa-Francorchamps to be able to get the win, just didn't go right that weekend. Smithical picking up a brilliant win though for him. I mean, obviously, you know, made the least amount of mistakes, or made the least costly mistakes in that race. So really, Monaco, we'll have to wait and see. Let's get into the race. So here we are lining up on the grid for the Monaco Grand Prix. We managed to get pole position by a crushing margin, but the lights go out and away we go. And Davey gets an amazing start compared to the rest of us. Going into turn 1, we clout the curb. We just about managed to secure second place from, I think that's Smithical behind me, followed by Geronimo. But Davey just had an absolute stormer of a start, which is exactly what he needed if he wanted a chance to win this race, because honestly, the gap in qualifying was unexpectedly big. I did not expect the gap to be as big as it was in qualifying. But anyway, coming to the Fairmont hairpin now, as you can see, we are just trying to stay behind Davey, because he actually was starting to get pretty decent gap in the first lap. So I was hoping at this point that it wasn't just qualifying pace I had, and that I actually genuinely had race pace. But as you can start to see now, coming exiting the tunnel, me and Davey are starting to leave third place man Smithical behind just a little bit, breaking into the chicane. Davey makes a mistake, cuts the chicane. Luckily for him, it doesn't give him a cut track penalty, which honestly at the time I thought it might have done, but it didn't. He didn't gain too much time for it, so I'm okay with that. But coming through the swimming pool now, coming to this second chicane, and we're just starting to break away a little bit from these cars now. As we can see, coming through Raskas and Anthony Nogues, I think it's called, but coming through the final corner, accelerating onto the start-finish line. As you can see, it's GSY Davey in first position, followed by me, followed by Smithical, followed by Geronimo, followed by Samster, followed by Seam. I sounded like some horse racing commentator then, but never mind. That was the top 6 coming across the line. And now as we come on to the second lap, chasing Davey down up the hill. As you can see, I've just got so much more entry speed coming into Casino than Davey, and as you can see, I'm just clawing the back of him. But I remember saying at the time and thinking at the time, you know, I was only about 70% pushing at this point, so I was more than happy sitting behind Davey. I didn't want to make the same mistake that I made in Spa, which if you check Smithical's video, I'll link that down below. If you check that, yeah, I was alongside Davey coming up to the chicane after Eau Rouge, and basically I made a terrible mistake. You know, I've never been used to being in second or first at that point, so I basically just tried outbraking myself and ballsed it up and took myself out of that race win. But anyway, getting back to Monaco now, as you can see, Davey actually got a good run through that chicane this time, so you know, he's starting to leave a bit of a gap, but I'm still fairly confident. I wasn't exactly 100% pushing at this point, so I didn't want to make any mistakes. It's Monaco, there's 42 laps, so you know, I thought at this point, you know what, let's take it steady, let's just sit behind Davey, and hopefully we can force a mistake onto him if I do get close enough anywhere. But as you can see, it is definitely now the top 2 starting to leave third place man Smithical behind just a little bit, and I'm sure my teammate Geronimo is going to want us to try to get past Smithical sometime soon. But coming up the hill once again, are we going to have any more decent speed coming into Casino? And as you can see, we didn't quite get ourselves tucked up into Casino, but we get a much better exit on the way out. And as you can see, Davey actually feeling the need to actually be a little bit defensive going into that corner, and we're right up the back of him now coming into Fairmont hairpin, and he's just taking it a little bit more defensively now, maybe starting to feel right that we're starting to push on this third lap, because as you can see, look at that gap between ourselves and Smithical. I'm sure, you know, I must have been pushing Davey like to go even faster, because I'm pretty sure the top times behind like me were actually really close. So, you know, Davey really wanting this win, of course. You know, Monaco, it's the place we all want to win, isn't it, really? Let's be honest. But coming through to back now, this sequence, absolutely fantastic. To back, swimming pool, and then this chicane, just fantastic. As you could hear there, Davey actually touching the barrier slightly, so he's starting to push a little bit now. He's starting to feel a bit of the pressure coming onto us, but coming through the final corner, he gets a great exit coming from that, and once again, we're not really close enough to challenge into the first corner, but that doesn't really matter. It's not really an overtaken spot. As we now clip the curb and put the power on too early, we spin it, and we actually drive forward to get out the way of these cars, and my teammate Geronimo there had just got past Smithical just before that incident. So as you can see, we're now about 15 seconds was lost as a result of that incident, but cutting on to lap 6, we now catch up to the back of F1 Speed, I believe that is. So coming down to the Fairmont chicane, it's only taken us 2 laps to close back up to 4th place. So just underlines how much pace we actually had in this race, and that I was just comfortable sitting behind Davey in the first few laps. But yeah, pretty bad mistake. Of all the places to make a mistake as well, Monaco, and not take damage. Honestly, I don't know how I did that. I just about managed to half spin it. I slammed on the brakes as quick as I could, but as you can see, right now we're all over the back of F1 Speed here, current championship leader. So I'm sure he's not going to be happy that he's possibly about to lose his 4th place spot. I'm pretty sure at the time he wasn't entirely happy with his pace in general this weekend, but as you can see, he clouts the barrier, but he does just get out of our way. I remember him saying at the time, you know, you're much faster, there's no point me battling with you, I'm just going to, you know, lose out even more. So he lets me through fairly easily, but you saw the gap before lap 8, and now comes lap 8, and we're already onto the back of 3rd place man Smithical and 2nd place man Geronimo. So does just show how much pace we had, and we were just basically in reserve, just comfort mode before the mistake. So really starting to get onto the back of Smithical now, coming through the swimming pool chicane, and just unbelievable sequence of corners. I'm probably going to keep mentioning it every time in this video, but genuinely is my favourite sequence in this track, and we're really starting to get tucked up behind Smithical now, who's actually starting to lose out a little bit to my teammate Geronimo. So he's going to want to either try and defend this position, but as you can see, he actually pulls over, and at this point, he said he was letting me through. It caught me out completely by surprise, because it was within the braking zone, so I actually almost missed the corner, like missed my braking point as a result of that. But now that is into 3rd place, and now we're chasing down 2nd place man Geronimo, my teammate. Now current champion, in Formula C, of course, so I doubt he's going to want to let this one go particularly easy. Of course, me being the quote-unquote number 2 driver in the team, I'm sure he's not planning on making this easy for me at all. He's going to want to prove he's the fastest driver. He's the champion, of course, so he's not going to make this easy. But we did get a great run through the tunnel, and as you can see, we're just ducking out of the slipstream, just thinking about it, and we're actually going to think about a move down the inside. We sort of half-heartedly put our car there, but Geronimo realises that that could have been an accident if he'd have carried on the corner normally. So a rather forceful move, but now we're 9 seconds behind Davey at this point, so we really need to start pushing. 9 seconds, and it's only lap 9. So as you can see, we get a massive slide coming out of that chicane there, which allows our teammate to close up on us once again. I don't quite think he's going to get a decent enough run out of this corner. No, he's just a bit too far back. So now basically we just need to push like mad in these next few laps to try and catch up to Davey. But yeah, a rather forceful move, but quite a nice move actually, I felt at the time. But coming up the hill on lap 10, but now we cut on to lap 16, and that 9-second gap has closed down to around about a second now. So lapping about 1.5 seconds a lap faster on average to Davey at that point. Obviously he didn't need to push, I needed to push to catch him, but I'm sure he'd have wanted to keep, you know, he wouldn't want me to close up this close to him again. So now 8 seconds in 6 laps, of course, so you know, a fairly decent pace, as I say, around here. Just a shame about that mistake early on in lap 4, but now we actually saw a couple of lap cars in the previous couple of shots. So coming now into the tunnel, you can just see them in the middle of the tunnel as we enter it. So I'm right onto the back of Davey. I don't think we're quite close enough to get a move on down this chicane, but you never know. I could try some. No, we do feint, but we're not really close enough to want to give that a go. Plus, as I say, lap 16 of 42, there's no point in making silly mistakes at this point still. So I just wanted to calm things down again, pretty much like the start of the race, sit behind. And coming through here, you can actually see, I think, that Samster generously getting out of our way there. It wasn't a mistake on his part. He just was being way too generous, I personally feel, with letting us lap them. But as you can see, Davey actually clouts the barrier there. So he's just weaving down this straight now to make sure we don't get a move on him, because we had a great run coming out of there. And as you can see, there's Seeb going through a shot, and we're so close to Davey coming into the first corner. But I don't think we're quite going to get a move up here, as Seebs now gets out of our way up the hill. And coming into Casino, we're taking different lines, seeing how close we can get. We are so close to Davey through here. He feels the need once again to go defensive, and we actually get our wheel lined up with his rear wheel. So we was actually close to getting a move on there, but me being on the outside probably wasn't going to work out either way. So now I'm just trying to focus on getting a great run out of this corner, because we're so close to Davey. And the great thing about Monaco is, although it's tight and it's difficult to overtake, there's not really a lot of dirty air, so you can follow each other so closely, as you can see. And now we're definitely close enough. We're going to put it up the inside, and as you can see, he doesn't actually give it up that easily, but he did give up the, well, he didn't give it up, but we forced our way through once again in the same spot we overtook Geronimo. So nice couple of moves from me there to get past Geronimo and Davey. Those two moves were actually forceful and quite necessary, unlike Smithical and Everyone Speed, that basically just, as they said at the time, just jumped out my way, which was awful nice of them. They didn't need to, but they felt the need to, so that was, you know, that was quite nice of them. But coming on to lap 18 now, and as you can see, we've already got about a second gap, but we cut on 10 laps later. And as you can see, this is just the gap we managed to pull out within 10 laps. So I think this is actually our pit stop lap now. So we had a bit more fuel than the rest of the cars around us. I believe Davey actually is already pitted at this point, that's why the gap's so big. But coming down the pit lane now, it's quite a slow pit lane in Monaco, so it does feel an age, especially when you know you're fighting for the lead. And with this game's pit stops being really damn inconsistent, you know, you're just praying that nothing goes wrong in these pit stops. But you know, it was an alright pit stop. We changed our tyres and just fast forward, and coming out now, we aggressively come out the pits, because if you take the F1 pit exit, then you actually get slapped with a penalty. So, you know, I just cut out like that. And as you can see, it's actually our teammate Geronimo in second place now. So, you know, at the time, I was slightly confused. I was like, whoa, hang on, has Geronimo pitted already? Has he just found some amazing pace? I didn't know what was going on at the time. But, you know, for the moment, it's Team Tominio 1-2. Of course, the number 2 car being ahead of Geronimo, and if he'd have got any closer to me, I would have probably been shouting down the radio multi-21. But, you know, I doubt that would have happened. But as you just saw in that shot, that was actually Davey coming through the hairpin now. So he's not too far behind us. He actually has closed in on us since he pitted compared to us. Well, at least I believe he has. I'm not actually too sure on the gaps at this point. But yeah, our teammate is actually keeping a reasonable gap to us. So this was making me question so many things. I wasn't sure whether he'd already stopped and somehow just had blistering pace while I was out there on worn tyres and slowly, probably losing maybe about half a second a lap to these guys. Not really too sure, but coming through Rascat, well, I don't know whether this is Antonio Nogues and Rascas, I never know with this track, to be honest. But coming out of the final quarter, let's just call it that, coming on to lap 30, only 12 more laps in the Grand Prix, so we've done a fair bit. And as you can see, lap 31, Geronimo, he's dropped back a bit, but he's still, you know, within shooting range if we make a mistake. So at this point, I didn't want to take it easy, because I didn't know what strategy my teammate was on. He wouldn't tell me, obviously, or wouldn't clearly tell me what it was. So I just thought, bugger it, I've got pace, let's just push, because there's this weird thing with, you know, racing drivers. I know it's only a game, but racing drivers, where if you don't push and you're sort of not focused on pushing, then you're actually more prone to making mistakes because you're not fully concentrating, if you like. So I just thought my best strategy was to push. And coming on to lap 41, we weren't really challenged. Geronimo ended up needing to pit, so he just put more fuel in than all of us. So he came in on lap 32, I believe it was. So, you know, different strategies there. But as I say, after that point, Davey, I think, also made a mistake behind us, which saw him drop down the field. But yeah, so unfortunately there wasn't much of a battle after that point, or, you know, we didn't see any cars except Steve now that we're coming to lap, and he just decides to put it in the wall for us to lap him. So thank you very much for that. Generous to put yourself in the wall, just get out my way. But I just wanted to show you these last couple of laps on board, because Monaco at night, strangely, is really cool. I didn't expect it. I've never seen Monaco at night, of course, on any game, so I didn't even know there were lights. So I was a bit concerned when I heard that we were racing from 8 to, you know, whatever, double the speed. So coming on to the final lap now of the Monaco Grand Prix. So besides the first mistake on lap 4, and actually 2 pieces of debris on the track here, which I can tell you were actually there. That lap car wasn't there though, obviously, because we just went through them. But yeah, those 2 pieces of debris were there, and I did actually hit them, so thank God we didn't take damage from that. But yeah, just going on board, Monaco is so cool at night. I really liked it. But yeah, coming down to the Fairmont hairpin, gets a bit dark there. Can't really see your braking points particularly, so it's a little bit of guesswork if you like. But yeah, our tyres are starting to go slowly at the front. You know, we've been pushing like mad since basically the pit stops. I put plenty of fuel in because, you know, again, this fuel's quite dodgy, I feel, on this game. So just cautiously over-fueling the car, just pushing the car to its limits on this last lap. And as you can see, it's just so much fun, this circuit. Absolutely love it. Coming through my favourite sequence now, to back. We slightly missed the thing, and we're actually hitting the barrier there. So at this point, I sort of calmed things down after, I think, this corner. We sort of just calmed things down a bit, you know, just chill. It's the last lap. I don't want to put it straight into the wall or anything, but coming through to the final corner now. It was a long race. It was quite a physically tough race, but we come across the line for our first win in Formula C.
You've done it, man! Great job! The one we all wanted. Well done. Awesome drive.
Monaco, baby! Yeah! Woohoo!
So as you can see there, a very happy win for us, and this is how the results were. We came home first. My teammate actually did finish in second place. A great 1-2 for Team Tominio, putting an end to the Gravy winning streak. But yeah, just a great race overall in general. At least for me, it was a great race because obviously I won it, and having to fight back through the field to win it as well was actually what made it really nice for me. But yeah, that's been this race. Actually, go check out Smithical's view of the race as well, because obviously he uploads them and, you know, he does a very good job with it. But yeah, thank you for watching, guys, and this is how the championship stands. Until next time, take care.